All right, let's dive into a really big topic today, DeFi 2.0. This is all about the next evolution of decentralized finance.
So, if you've ever heard of things like staking or yield farming or even crypto lending, then you've already had a taste of the first wave, what we now call DeFi 1.0. It was super exciting, totally revolutionary, but it was really just the beginning.
Okay, so what is this next chapter, really? What makes DeFi 2.0 so different from everything that came before? Well, to put it simply, it's about being
smarter. A whole lot smarter. We're talking about a huge leap forward in how capital actually gets used.
It's also faster. It adapts and builds systems that are actually meant to last, not just burn out. And here's the kicker. It's more stable. This is maybe the most important part. DeFi 2.0 was literally designed from the ground up to fix the biggest, most glaring problems that the first wave ran into.
To really wrap your head around this, think of it like this. DeFi 1.0 was that amazing, brilliant proof of concept, the prototype. But DeFi 2.0, that's the polished production model that's ready for the real world.
Yeah, so it's not about throwing out the old stuff completely. It's a critical upgrade. It's the next generation, built specifically to patch up the loopholes and bust through the limitations of what came first. And look, let's be real, that first wave was a huge deal. It proved so much. It showed us that maybe we don't need banks for everything, that lending could be totally automated, that interest rates could be out in the open, and that pretty much anyone could earn yield with liquidity pools. It was a total game changer, but it wasn't perfect. And this is where the story gets really interesting, because that incredible prototype, it had some pretty serious cracks in the foundation.
When you put them side by side, the promise versus the reality of DeFi 1.0, it's pretty stark. The dream was amazing, right? Automated lending, transparent rates, no banks. But the reality, well, it was messy. Protocols were totally at the mercy of investors. Liquidity was super unstable, here today, gone tomorrow. Capital was used really inefficiently. And frankly, users were often taking on way too much risk. And that's why this matters so much. DeFi 2.0 isn't just some new feature or a marketing term. It's a direct answer to all those problems. It's all about building a better, stronger, more resilient system.
This right here, this is probably the single biggest change. See, in DeFi 1.0, protocols basically had to rent liquidity from users. They do this by offering these insane, often unsustainable rewards. DeFi 2.0 completely flips that on its head. Now, the protocols themselves own their liquidity. And that one simple change, it creates a foundation of stability that just wasn't possible before.
But it's not just about owned liquidity. DeFi 2.0 brings a whole toolbox of crucial upgrades. Capital gets used way more efficiently with things like restaking. It introduces built-in protection against something called impermanent loss. That awful feeling when the value of your staked tokens actually goes down compared to if you just held them. And the whole thing just gets safer with automated insurance and much smarter ways to incentivize people.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in practice? Let's check out a project that was one of the pioneers of these fixes.
All right, take a look at a project like Alchemix. They came up with this really revolutionary idea, self-repaying loans. It works like this. You deposit some assets as collateral and you get a loan. Simple enough. But here's the magic trick. The yield that your collateral is earning is used to automatically pay back that loan over time. And the result? Zero. Liquidation risk for the user. It's just a perfect example of that smarter, safer design that builds a much more stable foundation for everybody.
So we've seen these cool new ideas, but let's connect the dots. How does all of this actually fix those big foundational problems from DeFi 1.0?
It's actually a really clean mapping of problems to solutions. Those crazy, unsustainable incentives, solved by protocol-owned liquidity. The risk of impermanent loss, handled with built-in protection. Wasted, inefficient capital, fixed by smart liquidity routing, which just sends money where it can do the most good. And all that complexity and risk for the average user, that gets tackled head-on with automation and integrated insurance. It's a really elegant set of solutions when you think about it.
Okay, so why does all this deep in the weeds technical stuff really matter? Because this is the moment DeFi graduates from being a really fascinating kind of Wild West experiment to becoming a legitimate foundation for our financial future. The future that's powered by DeFi 2.0, it looks totally different. We're talking about protocols that are just fundamentally more stable, returns for users that are actually sustainable for the long haul. It means we're way less reliant on centralized companies, and it creates an ecosystem that's finally safe enough to maybe, just maybe, attract mainstream investors. This is the real path to world adoption.
Look, if there's just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. DeFi 1.0 proved that the whole idea of decentralized finance works, but DeFi 2.0, that's what's proving it can last.
And this evolution, it brings up a massive question. We're not asking if decentralized finance is possible anymore. The real question now is, are we looking at the actual foundation for our future financial system?
This is DeFi Evolving. Visit Web3 Newswire for more updates on Web3 projects. Link is in the bio.